Text-to-speech synthesis provided by Speechify.
International Public Notice, the Hall of Mirrors. Nearly everyone above the age of 30 in this country has at one time or another attended a county or state fair or carnival of some kind and been entertained by a Hall of Mirrors attraction. Think about that experience, as we describe the present situation. We ordained a government that separated the powers and jurisdictions of the law of the soil being separated from the law of the land being separated from the law of the sea, and both the law of the land and the law of the sea being separated from the law of the air. Each part of this carefully envisioned government was and is structured to protect the living people and their physical assets, to prevent usurpation of one jurisdiction against another, and to promote freedom, equality, and justice for mankind. Each jurisdictional realm had as its ultimate safeguard with unincorporated electorates and instrumentalities firmly enclosing the entire government structure via a system of checks and balances, so that the self-interest of each part was invoked to guard against encroachment. Unfortunately, an illegal mercenary conflict misrepresented as the American Civil War destroyed a full one-third of this carefully constructed system, leaving a vacuum of power which unscrupulous men seized upon and used to promote foreign interests. They constructed territorial states and territorial states of states operating under non-conforming constitutions to replace the missing pieces of our intended government, and though they certainly owed us the duty to inform us and assist us under the good faith service provisions of their contract, they didn't tell the American people what was going on. These dishonorable foreign employees have tried to substitute their nationalities for ours, to substitute their commercial corporations for our unincorporated states, and they have operated their franchises created under the auspices of their territorial and municipal states in our names, so that whatever evils these foreign interests did, the Americans are blamed for it. Their foreign territorial states operate under the Hague Conventions, so they cannot operate in commerce in non-Hague Convention countries without the U.S. Secretary of State apostille and Municipal Department of State guarantees, and neither can any American vessels operate under the Hague Conventions, because our actual country never signed up under the Hague Conventions. Each unincorporated American state is a non-Hague Convention country. The civilian commission established in our names under this abo-efferenced apostille process is a merchant marine commission, so that on paper it looks like Anna Maria Riesinger is a British territorial merchant mariner, and it also establishes the fact that they don't tax their own commissioned vessels. They and we, because we have the same exact name, are exempt from levy, which is the context of the entire discussion related to the citations on the certificate. Shakespeare, State of September 15, 1789. I stat. 68 to 69, 22 U.S.C. 2657, 22 U.S.C. 2651a, 5 U.S.C. 301, 28 U.S.C. 1733 at TSEC, 8 U.S.C. 1443f, Rule 44 Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. All these citations establish their right to use the seals and issue these certifications, establishes the civilian commission of the warrant, officer purportedly operating in our names, and serves to demonstrate our ability to act as territorial merchant mariners and as U.S. corporations in their system, establishes the exemption from levy of these persons under the commission bond, and requires the members of their various judiciaries to accept the exemption paperwork, and none of this specifies which Anna Maria Riesinger is in operation. In this way they have contrived to avoid their own taxes and tariffs and claim to have provided me my exemption from levy without actually recognizing my separate existence. Most normal Americans never obtain this certification upon presenting this certificate and apostille in any federal court, which includes any district court, or territorial state franchise court. Tax and tariff claims have to be disallowed. Why? Because the parent vessels are exempt, all derivative vessels are exempt. So now, either I am the Anna Maria Riesinger owned and operated by them, or I am Anna Maria Riesinger operating as an American state citizen. And which one is it? This question has to be resolved by other paperwork, which in my case is settled by my act of state that was certified by the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Alaska the prior year, July 8, 2014. In the act of state, I am identified as a living soul and my name appears like this: Anna Maria Riesinger, a name that is supreme in the Roman system and outside all realms of trade and commerce. This name is the beneficiary of the territorial and municipal and federal and nation-state trusts, and Via the active state, I retain all my natural and unalienable interests and powers. Using a statutory trust format, I also created a 50-year trust interest in all territorial and municipal trusts and commercial corporations named after me and all those public interest assets held for me. And I claimed all of it for the benefit of Anna Maria Riesinger and the living people with hands and feet, in whom the flesh lives and the blood flows. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of uniform commercial code notices and liens established against such entities as State of Alaska operating in global commerce and territorial corporations operating in international commerce, for example, State of Alaska, Inc., all of them favoring the living people and the unincorporated instrumentalities of the sovereign nation-states. Because I was married to James Clinton Belcher, all the various steps and precautions surrounding his identity were made for him, now that he is dead. All right, title, interest, immunities, indemnities, physical and intellectual assets directly and indirectly vested in him, accrue to me, his wife in life and death. To avoid any claim or mistaken idea that I have done all this for myself, or acted in any wise as a false trustee or false fiduciary, I have long ago provided my publicly recorded irrevocable will, retaining only what is my due for myself and allowing everyone else the same. My motives and intentions and positions in each realm are clearly revealed, and it boils down to this: the rights and property interests of the living are not overcome by the dead things of the world. The corporations and trusts and other legal fictions created as business models by the Roman Curia. These legal fictions were only templates intended to serve mankind, never intended to be used to promote identity theft, impersonation, barratry and fraud, much less inland piracy, armed racketeering, press ganging, enslavement, peonage, false claims in commerce, and other serious crimes that these imaginary legal fictions have been used to accomplish. As Pope Francis admitted in his apostolic letter Motu Proprio, it was all made up, fictional, by definition a lie. On the way to this moment, in time, we also took time to establish indemnity bonds and lodged them with the U.S. Treasury's 1789 account, and claimed all the debt owed by the United States as credit owed to the living people of this country. As the recitation of assets enumerated on the face of these bonds show, the organic states are fully indemnified, a form of insurance against loss or claims raised by the debtors or the debtors' creditors. This should not be hard to understand, as every debt creates a credit. In the crazy system the corporate criminals created, the debts were all accumulated by incorporated, legal fictions operated as United States franchise corporations. For example, Anna Maria Riesinger and Anna M. Riesinger and whatever variations they could define and think up. The credit owed was all siphoned off to benefit the estates of dead, missing, presumed lost British territorial merchant mariners operated as estate trusts. This created the appearance of a gigantic debt on one hand and a gigantic answering credit on the other, both of which are actually owed to us. Because the debts and credits were assigned to different legal fiction entities, the perpetrators never balanced the books, and they never talked about the national credit owed to a fictitious British territorial merchant mariner. His estate was left high and dry to be claimed by the agents of the British monarch under bona vacantia. Now, you might not think that owning a debt of an incorporated entity is anything you would want to own, but in this case, their debt is our credit. And mucking about to claim back the estate of a penniless British territorial merchant mariner, who never really existed in the first place, might seem insane. And yet, this where they cashiered all the American assets belonging to a little girl who was born in Wisconsin many years ago. My mother provided her witness to the fraud and rescinded her autograph on their birth registration paperwork. On their public record. To make a long story short, this criminal system is busted, together with the Committee of 300, which went rogue in 2005. They decided not to pay back their loans and committed a strong-armed theft instead. Respected members of the American Bar Association and International Bar Association are unfortunately complicit, as are numerous professors of law, who have betrayed justice in pursuit of power and pelf. Ditto many corporation executives. Did we steal back what the pirates and madmen had already stolen from you? If we had, it would have done us no good, as the immutable law of merchants remains the same. Possession by pirates does not change ownership. So, even if we had acted as pirates, and simply out-pirated the rats responsible for this ghastly morass of mistaken identities and half-baked legal presumptions, your goods and lands and soil and services would still belong to you, and we would have been criminals in our turn, if we did not return your assets and property interests to you. Your true identity, your nationality, your land and soil, your guarantees, your constitutions, your intellectual and physical property. All of it is waiting for you. All you have to do is remember who and what you are, and say so in writing with the support of a couple witnesses. We are back at the State Fair, standing in the entrance of the Hall of Mirrors. In the entrance is a normal mirror, like any other mirror you might use to shave or brush your hair. You recognize your own reflection and are not afraid of it, but a few steps into the darkened maze, like Hall, are other mirrors. Horrible mirrors that distort your image in 1,000 different ways. There's the fat you and the thin you and the grimacing you with teeth that are 6 inches long, and yet none of these images are really you, are they? Remember that. Notice to principles is notice to agents. Notice to agents if notice to principles. Notice to principles is notice to agents. Notice to agents is notice to principles. Issued by Anna Maria Riesinger, Fiduciary the United States of America and care of Box 520,994. Big Lake, Alaska 99,652. September 11, 2025.
Links to Anna's articles and resources can be found in the video description box. Thank you for subscribing, liking and sharing.